Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea. Sakaleji, the headlines. God's land former Zambia Railway CEO MUYENGA ATANGA in court. Government cancels all contracts entered into after 16th August 2021. All is set for HAKAINDE HICHILEMA'S inauguration as political analyst backs a lean government proposal. In international news, Mozambique residents account their losses as they return to ruined towns and villages. And in sports, CHIPOLOPOLO intensifies preps in MARRAKECH. Join me with the main news in detail after this commercial.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
And now the main news in detail. The August 12th general elections, which saw the United Party for National Development emerging victorious, has seen significant improvement in the printing business. A check by Camnet TV in Lusaka Central Business District, businessmen dealing in printing of t-shirts have expressed happiness at how much their business have boomed this period. The printers who have taken advantage of printing t-shirts with the caption "Bali will fix it" or "Bali Muntuwesu" have surely capitalized on the opportunity.
Is crucial to the long-term survival of a business. It makes it easier to acquire assets, attract new talent, and fund investments, including driving business performance and profit. It may also help one to respond to market demand, allowing them to increase market share and capitalize on their growing brand. As such, several businessmen have expressed happiness over their businesses growing as a result of printing out "Bali will fix it" t-shirts.
And 150 t-shirts. 150 t-shirts, they are already done. They are in there. Yes. Yeah, so this is it. We are making some profit out of it. Yeah.
I must fix the t-shirts. So far I can see we are benefiting from it. Yeah, looking at the previous, before the election time, when we were printing the Bali t-shirts, we used to hide. Whenever a customer comes here, maybe we can take the t-shirts and go print at home. But right now we are free to print the UPNG t-shirts. Yeah.
They said due to the inauguration ceremony that will take place tomorrow for the president-elect HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, their businesses will experience major growth.
So much by printing the t-shirts, written "Bali will fix it." Bali Emuntuwesu. For sure it has even boosted my business that had gone down in the past regime.
People are indeed excited about tomorrow's inauguration ceremony. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Services Permanent Secretary Amos Malupenga reiterates that the Tuesday inauguration ceremony of the President-elect HAKAINDE HICHILEMA is open to all members of the general public provided they have collected their pass cards. Speaking at a major briefing in Lusaka Monday, Mr. Malupenga says all those attending the inauguration should ensure that they collect their pass cards at various offices belonging to the United Party for National Development (UPND). And United Party for National Development Deputy Secretary General Patrick Mcheleka says anyone is free to wear any political party regalia at the inauguration and should not be discriminated by anyone.
The ground has already been set, and the inauguration of the President-elect HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, the victor in the 12th August 2021 general election, will proceed as planned on Tuesday, 24th August 2021 in Lusaka at the Hero Stadium. While the President himself has announced that the ceremony is open to all, Ministry of Information Permanent Secretary Amos Malupenga says measures have been put in place to ensure that there is a live beaming of the ceremony to allow for all those that will not manage to physically attend the event to follow in one way or the other.
Due to the overwhelming interest shown by the citizens of Zambia to follow the proceedings of the ceremony, government has arranged satellite areas where people may gather to view the proceedings on large screens. The satellite areas are the Olympic Youth Development Center, commonly known as OIDC, Woodland Stadium, and the Nkoroma Stadium, or in Lusaka. Further, the government has also facilitated for the proceedings of the ceremony to be broadcast live on TV, radio, and online social media platforms.
Mr. Malupenga adds that all those intending to attend the event should ensure that they collect their pass card at the United Party for National Development offices and be early at the event to ensure that they allow for screening.
Of the general public, apart from invited guests who have invitation cards, wishing to enter Heroes Stadium are advised to collect tickets from the secretariats of political parties that are members of the UPND Alliance.
Appeal to you, fellow Zambians, to come and enjoy, celebrate in peace. Please do not come with offensive weapons. Please do not come with intention to be drunk or to drink alcohol or take alcohol as such. It will be a sober celebration because it's founded on our freedom. We have lost freedom in this country.
And United Party for National Development UPND Deputy Secretary General Patrick Mcheleka says all are welcome to wear any political party regalia of their choice at the inauguration and that no one should be intimidated for exercising their democracy.
The party regalia for other political parties, we are free at last. So people are free to express themselves in whatever manner, as long as we conform to the rule of law. And when you are at the stadium or anywhere else, do not provoke other people or try to use language or anything that might cause others to be agitated.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Newly elected United Party for National Development Chikankata UPND Member of Parliament, Jacqueline Sabao, says there is need to factor in the youth in national development as the party's victory can be attributed to the overwhelming votes they received from the youth. The lawmaker was speaking when she received Ingwe Ngoma, a man who walked from Malala village in Chikankata district to Lusaka in order to attend the 7th Republican President's inauguration ceremony slated for 24th August 2021 Tuesday.
Overjoyed by the victory of the United Party for National Development UPND in the 12th August polls, a man of Chikankata district has arrived in Lusaka from Malala village to come and be part of history in the making, slated for the 24th of August 2021 as Zambia's 7th Republican President will be sworn into office. Mr. Ingwe Ngoma, 44 years old, started off from his village in the early hours of Sunday morning at around 01:15 hours and arrived in Lusaka 32 hours later on Monday morning at around 09:30 hours, a trip that would take approximately 5 hours by road.
Okay. Hanya butwa hanya kupandula to iva na uja nangukuizira nkakulu. So mbuga bora kasamka kuba kalali mbuga ikundulira kasikono bomwe. Akaloga muga mwemusinzo ngundaka uma akalo kokula kamwanja. Ngede utikakuinika mbuga ndipa ndingira tobyo tukamba ndipande.
Mr. Ngoma says he is motivated by the leadership Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has exhibited over the years, stating that very few would be strong enough to stand the test of time in the opposition. And receiving him in Lusaka's Makeni area, newly elected Chikankata Member of Parliament, Ms. Jacqueline Sambao, says she is delighted by the gesture shown and will try and schedule a meeting so that Mr. Ngoma can meet his idol, the president-elect, as that was his desire and request.
And if you follow the results from Chikankata, it was a landslide victory, meaning they are part and parcel of this victory and this history, because the winning of HAKAINDE in this country, its history, that goes back in 1964 during the Kumbula's time. And as a young person, I'm happy that I'm part of this history.
Ms. Sambao added that the youth cannot be neglected, as they are part of the reason why the UPND won the August presidential poll, owing to their bravery of turning up in numbers to vote.
Because if you empower the youth, you empower the future. And for your own information, as UPND leaders out there, we should know that our vote was given to us by the youth. Hence, we have a challenge ahead of us to empower the young people of Zambia by coming up with policies that are going to help all the young people, regardless where they are coming from, regardless where they are. But what is important, they are all Zambians.
She further added that she intends on lobbying for funds and ensure that the roads are worked on in her constituency, as the majority of the people in the area are farmers like Mr. Ngoma, who would need roads to transport their produce. Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A Lusaka-based political analyst, Dr. Alex Ngoma, has supported the call to cut on the number of ministries in the expected cabinet to be appointed by the president-elect Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA. This follows calls by the Socialist Party President Fred Membe that it would be wise if the cabinet will be reduced from its current numbers as means of reducing expenditure on some ministries. Dr. Ngoma says some ministries can be merged in others as departments so as to lessen on the budgetary cost.
Following concerns and appeals by some stakeholders proposing a lean government, which would imply cutting down the number of ministries from the current 22 to a lesser number. Recently, the Socialist Party President Dr. Fred Membe advised the President-elect Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA to consider reducing the number of cabinet to 10 officials. Meanwhile, a renowned political analyst, Dr. Alex Ngoma, has supported this call.
I've proposed that the incoming government should trim down the size of cabinet. That I think is a step in the right direction, because we live in an era where they say small is beautiful. What is needed is a smaller cabinet that is efficient, staffed with professionals. That way I think it is going to be possible for the government to reduce the huge government bill, where you've got to buy so many vehicles for so many ministers, provide so many houses for so many ministers. So I support the idea that the incoming government should actually reduce the size of government.
Dr. Ngoma is also optimistic that the president will lead the country in a right economical trajectory.
HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has actually taught this country a lot of valuable lessons. First of all, as you know, he tried to win the presidency for 5 consecutive times. He didn't make it, but he decided to hang in there. So persistence actually pays. If you've got a very clear vision of what you want, don't be discouraged by the first failures that you experience. So this is what he did. Secondly, this man has got a lot of experience in many areas, properly qualified. That is why he has inspired a lot of people. They are looking forward to him changing, especially the economy for the better.
Alex Chimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development UPND parliamentary contestant for Kamfisa constituency on the Copper Belt and the just-ended general elections, Subeta Muselo, has filed in petition contesting the result of the just-ended parliamentary election. Ms. Muselo says the grounds of the petition hinge on gross electoral malpractice, adding that more details will be unveiled at a later stage. Ms. Muselo says her party, the UPND, is a believer in the autonomy of the three arms of government and has confidence in the judicial system. She says the courts are best suited to hear her cries as opposed to taking to the streets or trying the matter in the court of public opinion. Youths in Action for Disability Inclusion in Zambia has appealed to the President-elect Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA to consider nominating well-abled persons in Parliament so as to ensure proper representation for persons living with disabilities, especially the youths. During an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Monday, YADI's director Ian Banda has noted with concern that most youths with disabilities do not have a good representation in government, hence them missing out on opportunities.
The physically challenged persons have bemoaned the poor disability policies in Zambia on a number of occasions. Before the president could set the ball rolling with the formation of this cabinet, Mr. Banda Ian, a disability advocate and director of the Youth in Action for Disability Inclusion in Zambia, has appealed to the president-elect, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, to consider nominating persons with disability in his cabinet for good representation.
The president is His Excellency HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will be selecting appointing government officials. It is our plea that let them ensure that at least they appoint one person with a disability to be represented in Parliament and also at all government levels of this country.
Mr. Banda has further called on the new government to empower the youths living with disabilities with skills and job opportunities.
And our appeal is that to this new government, let them ensure that they include youth with disabilities in the empowerment fund. It is our plea and our lobby that this new government, let it ensure to include persons with disabilities in all national development in the interest of this country.
Mr. Banda, whose mobility is restricted to a wheelchair, has noted that people living with disabilities should not be underrated because they can contribute to the well-being of the country. Alex Chimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, a syndicate of young advocates have called on the incoming government to be transparent in the distribution of resources meant for the youth and poverty alleviation. Speaking during a press briefing, Youth Life Project Chairperson Michael Nkosa has appealed to the government to implement what is in their party manifesto of youth development.
With the United Party for National Development's manifesto stance on youth, such as investing in people through quality education and economic empowerment, not handouts that only appear at election time, creation of quality jobs, particularly for the youth and women, eradicating poverty and inequality, including providing universal access to high-quality health care, a syndicate of youth advocates have called on the President-elect HAKAINDE HICHILEMA to implement the promises made to the Zambian youth. Speaking at a press briefing, Youth Life Project Chairperson Michael Nkosi says UPND should always be accountable for the promises made, adding that government should work hand in hand with the youth.
They've promised us universal access to proper medical facilities. They've also promised us investment in the citizens. It is at this point that we want to actuate that the investment in the citizens that we're talking about, I think this is the investment as youth we want to be part of. Regardless of political affiliations, regardless of religious affiliation, we want to take part in this national cake because as youth, we believe we are the future. As youth, we believe we are the ones to drive the agenda, the economic success of this nation forward. If we are being promised a job, or they are talking about industrializing Zambia, I want to believe that the most people that work in those industries will be youth.
Speaking during the same event, Eastern Visionary Youth Executive Director Limbika Nyerenda says government should consider empowering the youth through agriculture.
To see that the inputs are sold at the affordable prices. Because where I'm from, as in Chipata is a land that depends more on agriculture. Therefore, as young people from Eastern Province,
this year's elections saw a majority of youth participating in the general elections. Blessings Takwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Ministry of Finance Secretary to the Treasury Fredson Yamba has announced that the cancellation of any agreement and contracts relating to loans, guarantees, concession, public-private partnership, civil work, ICT solutions, and for the supply of goods and services to government. In a circular release Monday, Mr. Yamba says all contracts entered into after the declaration of President-elect HAKAINDE HICHILEMA as the duly elected president in the 12th August 2021 general elections are now and void unless cleared by the office through the Office of the Accountant General. Mr. Yamba says the directive is in accordance with the provision of the Public Finance Act of 2018. The Secretary to the Treasury further says addresses are expected to submit income and expenditure returns for the period of 16th August 2021 to 25th August 2021. He says the circular shall remain in effect until further notice, and subsidies of all letters of clearance issued during this period starting 16th August 2021. The Zambia Revenue Authority says they are optimistic about reaching their annual revenue tax collection by the end of the month, as they have already exceeded their target by about 16.9 billion. Speaking to Camnet TV in an interview, ZARA Corporate Communications Manager Topsi Sikalinda says with the COVID-19 cases gradually dropping, it is expected that businesses will soon go back to normal. He adds that the authority is also looking forward to receiving policy instructions from the new regime in taking the institution to higher heights.
We also have a situation where, if you've seen, the COVID numbers have really gone down, and with the COVID numbers going down, it means that business is going to be revitalized, and we will see a number of better things coming up front. For now, as you are aware, the organization is already about 16.9 billion above target, and we are optimistic that we will actually be meeting our annual target within this coming month. And this is all thanks to the business environment and the taxpayers out there. Also, if you know, we cannot run away from the fact that we were in an election year, and with elections there are a lot of skepticism that comes across in the business sector, and we are glad that the dust seemed to have settled very quickly, and we now look forward to the new administration giving us a policy guideline in terms of how we move as a country and how the business houses will move. That is the wonderful news that is out there.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after this.
The board, management, and staff of ZISC General Insurance Limited would like to congratulate His Excellency, the President-elect, Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, and Her Honor, the Vice President-elect, Mrs. Mutale Nalumango, on their successful election run. We wish you God's blessings as you lead our great nation. ZISC General Insurance Limited, your solid partner, offering flexible solutions.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At
Master Signs. Our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet TV main news. Former Zambia Railways Limited Chief Executive Officer and husband to Akafumba-led NDC faction, Secretary General Bridget Atanga, Professor Muyenga Atanga, has been dragged to court for allegedly stealing 2,006 goats. In this case, Professor Atanga, who is also the Executive Director at City University of Science and Technology, has been jointly charged with 26-year-old Ian Musanje, a farm supervisor of Chisamba, 20-year-old Sylvan Mkonka, farm shepherd, 29-year-old Thomas Sikapizie, a livestock technician of Kawe, 26-year-old Jedrick Mwinde, a manager, and 20-year-old Joseph Sichimba. All the accused have been charged with one count of stock theft contrary to Section 2751 of the Penal Code. Allegations are that the accused on the 15th of August 2020 in Lusaka, jointly and whilst acting together, stole 2,006 goats, altogether valued at 277,500 kwacha, the property of Mwanga Kanyama. When the accused appeared before Magistrate Sanford Ngobola Monday morning for plea, the court noticed that the indictment needed to be amended because Professor Atanga's name was missing on the charge sheet. The court has since adjourned the case to the 26th of August 2021 for plea. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has amended the charge in which opposition self-proclaimed Patriotic Front National Commander Innocent Kalimanshi was charged with being in possession of psychotropic substances to trafficking in psychotropic substances. When the case came up for ruling Monday morning, Magistrate Sanford Ngobola said in accordance with the law, Kalimanshi and his co-accused are supposed to be charged with trafficking in psychotropic substances, a non-bearable offense because the drugs found on them weigh more. Meanwhile, the court has granted 20 others who were charged with being in possession of offensive weapons 10,000 kwacha bail in their own recognizance.
After spending more than a month in custody, 22 people who are jointly charged with Innocent Kalimanshi have been granted a temporary freedom after the court Monday morning granted them 10,000 kwacha bail each in their own recognizance.
We appreciate because I think it has been a tormenting time. We are very happy that the court has issued the free bails to our colleagues who were in custody. So all in all, we cannot discuss much since this case is still going. We don't discuss issues of such matters. We are just waiting for the court to decide, to tell us. We leave everything in the hands of the judiciary because we have got confidence that the judiciary, they are professionals actually. I think they will handle this matter according to the expectation of the law. So we are saying, for now, I think comment are reserved, but we are looking forward to it that this case is finished.
The 22 are accused of possessing 19 access handles and 5 machetes without lawful authority. But despite being a joyful moment for the 22, it was a different case for the opposition Patriotic Front self-proclaimed National Commander Innocent Kalimanshi and 5 others who are now charged with trafficking in psychotropic substance, a non-bailable offense. In this matter, Kalimanshi, who was arrested by the Drug Enforcement Commission last month, and 5 others have been charged with trafficking in psychotropic substance, namely cannabis. Kalimanshi is said to have trafficked 2.0 grams of cannabis and also using a motor vehicle to commit an offense under the Narcotic Drugs Act, while the 5 are accused of trafficking 95.3 grams of cannabis, and among the 5, 1 is accused of trafficking in 36.0 grams of the said drug. On the 9th of August 2021, when the accused first appeared before court, Magistrate Sanford Ngobola refused to prosecute Kalimanshi and 5 others under the charge of being in possession of psychotropic substance because he was not convinced that the accused were charged with the correct offense, and reserved ruling to the 23rd of August 2021 after different submissions from both the defense and the prosecution team that the accused were correctly charged with the offense of being in possession of psychotropic substance, an offense which can be granted bail. And when the accused appeared before Magistrate Ngobola Monday morning, the court amended the charge to trafficking in psychotropic substance because the quantity of drugs found on the accused weighed more. Seems Kalimanshi will have to spend more days in custody depending on how fast his case will be. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
2 Lusaka residents have been dragged to court for allegedly obtaining huge amount of money from an Indian man on pretext that they were employees from State House. This is in a matter in which Xavier Mukuka, 42, a businessman, and Banda Mukwanya, 48, an IT specialist, stand charged with 1 count of obtaining money by false pretense, contrary to Section 309 of the Penal Code. It is alleged that Mukuka and Mukwenya between 1st October 2019 and 16th April 2020 in Lusaka obtained 47,000 United States dollars and 90,000 kwacha cash from E.S. Patel by falsely pretending they were employees from State House assigned to purchase bicycles and other election materials on behalf of the Republican president when in fact not. When the matter came before Magistrate Jennifer Bwalia Monday morning for plea, both accused persons were not present. Magistrate Bwalia adjourned the case to Wednesday for plea. The country has in the last 24 hours recorded 102 new COVID-19 cases out of 3,486 tests. In a press statement, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services Dr. Kennedy Malama says 4 new COVID-19 related deaths reported from northern and northwestern provinces have been recorded. Dr. Malama has also stated that the vaccination program continues to be key in preventing the devastating effects of COVID-19 in the country. The Permanent Secretary has disclosed that in the last 24 hours, 135 dose 1 AstraZeneca and 147 dose 2 of AstraZeneca were administered. Dr. Malama has added that 1,613 doses of Johnson & Johnson have also been administered. You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our second set of commercials. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Oracle, the makers of pure petroleum products, congratulate the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, and Her Honor the Vice President Mrs. Mutale Nalumango for being elected as the 7th President of the Republic of Zambia, and wish that under your guidance and leadership we shall see a new dawn for Zambia, which will bring healing, unity and prosperity to our motherland under our motto, One Zambia, One Nation.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN 096 296 5883. For Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. Now getting into our international item. The villages and towns devastated by the rebels in the district of Wisanga and Makomia bear scars of terror on every corner, and reconstruction is repeated amid the ruins, but the trauma is great and fear persists among the communities. The rebels attacked the villages of Samuel Saidi 56 in February 2020, a few days after a massive flight of this rural population who already knew that the insurgents were terrorizing the neighboring regions. In addition to killing an unknown number of people, the rebels looted property and burned houses in this forgotten community in the middle of nowhere, just a few meters from the bridge that separates Wisanga from Makomia, 2 of the 9 districts affected by armed violence in Cabo Delgado over the past 4 years. In other news, Egypt closes Rafah borders crossing the Gaza after Israel-Hamas escalation. Rafah is the sole crossing between Egypt and Gaza, where an Israel-led blockade had placed severe restrictions on the movement of goods and people for years. Africa News has more.
The villages and towns in northern Mozambique, devastated by the rebels in the districts of Kisanga and Makombia, bear scars of terror on every corner. Amidst the ruins, reconstruction is repeated, but the trauma is great and fear persists among the communities. There was a lot of work to build the house. I hit the Mashamba garden to get money, but when I got here and I didn't catch anything, I was very angry. They took all this village and destroyed all the properties that were here, including the houses and schools. Following the liberation of some of the towns by coalition forces led by the Southern African Development Commission SADC member countries, many residents who fled are now returning to their old towns. They burned everything, and I found nothing when I came back. We're now sleeping here, and I'm trying to build a new house, but I have nothing left. Mozambique's northern province of Cabo Delgado has long experienced instability, but insurgency involving Islamist militants began in 2017. We want peace so that we can start producing again. We always produce rice, corn and cassava. But now we are suffering. 56-year-old Samuel Sade said he fled to relatives who live in the nearby district of Makomia and did not return until 4 days later. Nearly 670,000 people were internally displaced in Cabo Delgado by the end of 2020, according to the UN.
Egypt closes Rafah border crossing to Gaza after Israel-Hamas escalation. Rafah is the sole crossing between Egypt and Gaza, where an Israeli-led blockade has placed severe restrictions on the movement of goods and people for years. Egyptian authorities on Monday said the border is closed till further notice. Hamas, the Palestinian faction that controls Gaza, said it had been informed by Egypt of the decision to shut the crossing in both directions, without giving details. The latest escalation saw an Israeli border policeman seriously wounded after being shot at the border. Senegal has officially launched the OSAC plan, disaster relief plan, to deal with the floods that are affecting certain areas in the suburbs of Dakar and inland. This Sunday, the Interior Minister visited areas affected by heavy rainfalls. The Minister of Interior, Antoine Felix Abdoulaye Diom, announced the deployment of a first batch of equipment to help clear the water in most affected areas, which consisted dispatching about 50 water cleaning trucks to the fields, as well as 150 motor pumps. The floods of Dakar are a yearly occurrence. Last year, September, homes were ravaged, livestock swept away by the waters. The rains were exceptional according to the authorities. But the people criticized the management of these floods, which reoccur every rainy season. Likewise, last year, the Interior Minister promised pumping equipment before reflecting on a permanent solution after last winter. A 10-year flood management plan was launched in 2012 with a budget of about 1 billion euros. Many, however, demand accountability.
We now get into your sports item. The Chipolopolo boys have intensified preparations ahead of the September 3rd Qatar 2020 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mauritania. Coach Benston Chembesi and technical advisor Aljosa Asunaviovic have been fine-tuning the squad that comprises 22 local players in the resort city of Marrakech in Morocco. FAS has organized a 10-day international camp for the Chipolopolo in Marrakech as part of the preparations for the back-to-back FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Foreign-based players will only join in the final stage of preparations as their clubs can only release them in accordance with the FIFA rules. Prior to camping in Morocco, the local players had two weekly sessions as the technical bench zeroed in on the best of the local talents. Zambia will be away to Mauritania on September 23rd before hosting Tunisia 4 days later in the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Lusaka. Only the group winners in the 10 groups will qualify to the final round, where teams will be played two-leg knockout ties to determine Africa's 5 representations to the Qatar 2020 FIFA World Cup. Zambia is in Group B alongside Tunisia, Mauritania and Equatorial Guinea. Nkwasi netball player says netball games must be ongoing in Zambia as they are a source of revenue for most youths who are not in formal employment. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Brighton Mumba says whenever a game of netball is played, allowances are given which are beneficial to them in one way or another.
Netball is a ball sport played by 2 teams of 7 players. It is most popular in many Commonwealth nations. Netball is played by more than 20 million people. The game is played on a rectangular court with raised goal rings at each end, of which each team attempts to score goals by passing a ball down the court and shooting it through its goal ring. Camnet Sports caught up with Brighton Mumba, a netballer who plays for Nkwasi Netball Club. He gave out reasons as to why netball is important for him as a player.
I started netball in 2016 at school level. I was at primary level. I used to go to the ground just to watch people doing different sports activities, and one day just decided to say, no, let me just start doing something. I started playing football, and now I got no interest, so I just thought maybe let me try netball. Tried netball and it was interesting, and I liked it that time, so that's how I got into netball. And from 2016, I played 2016 as a community until I reached 2018.
Mumba has told this reporter on how he generates resources via playing netball.
Where I see myself in the next 5 years, at least to find a job in the Zambia police and also to become a national team player.
Netball emerged from early versions of basketball and evolved into its own sport as the number of women participating in the sport increased. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
That sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. God's land former Zambia Railway CEO MUYENGA ATANGA in court. Government cancels all contracts entered into after 16th August 2021. All is set for HAKAINDE HICHILEMA'S inauguration as political analyst backs a lean government proposal. And in international news, Mozambique residents count their losses as they return to ruined towns and villages. And in sports, Chipolopolo intensifies preps in Marrakech. Before we go, here is our Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from the book of Proverbs 1 verse 7 to 8, and it reads, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. Listen, my son, to your father's instructions and don't reject your mother's teaching." I am Precious Mzeya Sakaleje. Thank you for joining me. Continue watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Pleasant viewing.